The Scorpion Evo is becoming a more frequent sight on the battlefield these days. Now that we've had a couple of months to rank up in BattleBit Remastered, a good portion of the player base have ranked up to rank 150 and unlocked the Scorpion Evo. Now if you've never used this weapon before, it's become a bit of a meme weapon due to its insanely high vertical recoil. This weapon handles like no other in the game, and takes a good bit of practice to get used to before you can become effective with it. For this reason, I see the Scorpion Evo becoming a very niche weapon, only for the most aggressive of BattleBit players that are willing to put the time in to tame this monster. In today's video I'm going to be covering the pros and cons of using this weapon and let you guys know what the best way to play this gun is. So if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to support small creators. With that said, let's get into the video. In the real world, the CZ Scorpion Evo 3 is a Czech-made 9mm carbine, and it's currently in active use all over the world, serving with various law enforcement units, coast guards and border guards. The Scorpion Evo is light, compact, and offers select firing modes, making it a quite versatile weapon. Even the stock can be folded away to make it more portable and better suited in confined environments. Its Picatinny rails over the top of the weapon allow the Evo to use various different optics depending on its usage. Combine this with an insanely high rate of fire of 1150 rounds per minute, and its usage of one of the most common pistol caliber rounds in the world, and it's easy to see why this weapon has become such a fan favourite. Now, in BattleBit Remastered, the Scorpion Evo is a carbine unlocked at rank 150, and is the final weapon unlocked in the game as of making this video. Its two most notable features are its incredibly high rate of fire of 1200 rounds per minute, putting this weapon on par with the Chris Vector, and its insanely high vertical recoil, which is very difficult to control if you're picking up this weapon for the first time. The Scorpion Evo is only available for the Medic and Engineer classes, which I find to be a bit odd considering how the Assault class has access to the only other carbine, the AS Val. Unlike every other weapon in the carbines, PDWs and SMGs, the Scorpion Evo doesn't add a buff to the player's movement speed, instead staying at the default 1.00, compared to the 1.05 and 1.10 that the other weapons offer. It also has the lowest muzzle flash of all the default weapon categories I just listed, of just 0.10, which will make this an attractive choice for nighttime maps. It's a good thing too that this gun has a low muzzle flash, as there's no option to change the barrel on this weapon, nor is there any variety in the magazines. Both remain as stocked throughout the entire unlock tree. All that you can really change for this weapon are your optics, side rail and underbarrel, so there's not a whole lot of ways to customize this weapon, but I'll get into that in just a moment. The Scorpion Evo's greatest benefit is that it currently has the fastest time to kill in the game for an automatic weapon, clocking in at just 150 milliseconds. Now I'll put a list of other weapons on screen so you can see just how quick this actually is. This weapon absolutely shreds people provided you can get close enough to them, and is best suited to close quarter engagements where your engagement ranges are no greater than say 30 meters. You can get kills beyond this range, but it's not going to be accurate, and instead you'll be relying on some good old spray and pray tactics while you battle with this weapon's mighty recoil. With that said, let's move on to the loadouts that I had the most success with. Starting off with the default Scorpion Evo kinda sucks, and you don't really start getting a feel for this weapon until you start unlocking some attachments. A good choice early on is to take the B25 URK, as this will slightly decrease your reload speed, which is especially important on a gun that's aimed for CQB, but has a 3.4 second reload. Do note that you are trading off 2 points of movement and adding an extra 10% to how long it takes to draw this weapon, but I felt like it was worth it when you've only got 35 rounds in a weapon that fires at 1200 rounds per minute. Later on you'll unlock the vertical grip, which can help extend the range of this weapon slightly by decreasing that infamous vertical recoil. It also doesn't have the same movement penalties as the B25 URK. Now, for the sight, I've decided to go with the Strike-Fire sight, which is a short range optic. What the Strike-Fire gives you in return is a very wide field of view when aiming down sight, and this naturally means you'll experience less visual recoil with the Evo because of it. I found that when using the Strike-Fire compared to other optics, I was better suited for engaging targets up to about 50 meters away, which can be quite useful when you can't quite close the gap on your opponent. Just do be aware that the damage drop off for this gun starts at just 20 meters and is best suited for up close. Now, I've seen a lot of people on Discord and Reddit stating that the Scorpion Evo is a bad gun, and I'm going to pour the cold water here for just a moment. It's not that the Scorpion Evo is a bad weapon, it's just that unless you take the time to practice with this weapon a lot, you're not going to do well. I think there's a place for this weapon in competitive BattleBit matches, where players who possess that skill and time to practice will be able to score some amazing plays with the Evo. In the hands of a highly skilled player, this gun can absolutely go through scores of people where the time to kill is most important. Now, I'm not saying that anybody that thinks this gun is bad is a bad player. I'm just stating that to use this gun requires a lot of practice and the right mentality to do so. Hell, I don't even think I'm one of those players, and I'll be putting this gun down the first chance I get, because it requires such concentration and skill that I just can't keep up with. But I do recognise that if I was a better player, I could do extremely well with this. In a 1v1 situation at close range, you will always have the upper hand with this gun, if you know how to play your cards right. I think the only thing that has stopped the Scorpion Evo becoming meta so far is that it's unlocked so late that it's an uncommon sight even at the moment, and you don't get to modify the barrel or the magazine. If you could customise those attachments and this gun was unlocked at say rank 50 instead, you'd hear a lot more people complaining about it. It's a high risk, high reward situation, and I've lost plenty of gunfights with this thing because my opponent was behind cover or slightly outside of my effective range. So if you're going to be picking up the Scorpion Evo after watching this video, be aware that its recoil makes it a decent substitute for an anti-aircraft gun, and that you're not necessarily going to hit the ground running with it either. If you put in the time, you will be surprised with what you can do with it. Anyway guys, that's all I have for today's video. If you enjoyed, please consider rating the video, and if you'd like to see more BattleBit content from myself, well, you know what to do. As always, remember to watch your house, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.